So, very good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to express my sincere thanks to the three participants, Dr. Vivek Sharma, Dr. Sagrika, and Dr. Subramaniam, who have sent their question papers to facilitate the conduct of this particular session. So, this particular session will be focusing on the aspect that is assessment of student performance with specific reference to one of the methods which is most commonly used by all of us to assess the performance of the learners. And this is where we are making use of a number of or a wide variety of assessment methods are available to teachers in the form of your written test, oral test, assessment, assignments, project work. Then you have all active learning strategies which you can integrate. They can act as assessment tools. In addition to that, the portfolios, the rubrics which are available. Most commonly used assessment method has been over the years in the education system, whether we talk in terms of the school education system or higher education system, it has been the written test. Now, when we say written test, we are all familiar with that a teacher makes use of class tests, mid-semester tests, at the same time, even the end-term test, greater weightage is given to the written test. And written test, the quality depends upon the quality of the question papers. And at present, we have at NITTTR Chandigarh took up 4 to 5 studies which have highlighted a number of drawbacks in the question papers, whereby the quality of question papers becomes doubtful. So what I have done, I have enlisted those drawbacks, and I would request you to indicate your agreement or disagreement with the drawback that exists in the question paper, and then we'll continue with the discussion on the various aspects related to this. Now, let me just put the link in the chat box here. So we have this small checklist whereby you need to simply indicate your agreement or disagreement with the statement. So in the chat box, I'm putting this link. So 5 minutes at your disposal. Read the statement, indicate your agreement or disagreement with the statement. There are 3 response categories. One is agree, if you agree with the statement. If you are undecided or you are not sure of, so you are neutral to that, so you can put neutral. And if you disagree with the statement, then you indicate disagree. Anyway, thank you very much. Let me quickly go through what have been your responses, because what we have found in the analysis, which we took up, as said, 4 to 5 studies on the quality of question paper, and we had gone in for content analysis of the question papers set for the engineering and technology branches. Now here, when you look at the very first statement, you will see quality of question paper is not satisfactory. So overall, how many of you out of the 9 people, 6 people, अब 12 हो रहे हैं तो okay. So almost 50% of you have said that you are not satisfied with the quality of question paper, and whereby our studies have indicated by and large the question papers are not up to the mark. then the very first thing which you can see here, where 7 out of the 12 have agreed that there is inadequate coverage of the content. And especially this has happened in the end term examination as well as the class test. And why we say that the coverage, if there have been 10 topics, many of the question papers at the university level also had 8 questions, attempt any 5. That has been the format which has been used in the end term examination. In the class test, if there have been 3 topics, the individual tried to include 3 topics in the class test, but primarily the problem was with the end term examination. Then if you look at that, there has been stress on the lower level abilities. That means most of the, and when I say most, it was 80 to 85% of the questions were at the remembering and understanding level, where define, state, expand the terms or acronym, or give the full form, or give the formula, or write the formula, or enlist the types, or at the most explain, give examples. These were the questions which were posed. And I can substantiate this by the 3 question papers which were sent to me by Sagrika, Dr. Sharma, and Dr. Subramanian. Now here, friends, if you have a look at, I hope it is visible to all of you, you can see that there are sections in this particular paper, section A, section B, and section C. All these questions which I have tried to analyze, these are again at the remembering and understanding level, which were of 2 marks. Again, you will find section B here provide short notes. So understanding level here, I'll take up the questions later, but these were at the understanding level. And again, part C was at the understanding level. So no question goes beyond as far as this particular question paper is concerned. You can have a look at another question paper which was sent by Sagrika for organic chemistry. And here also, you will see that the very first question which is draw is at the understanding level. Fill in the blanks. Most of these are at remembering level. Then the question number 3, the functional groups. Write down following functional groups, so understanding level or remembering level, depending upon. Then write following reactions, so understanding level. 5th question was again write preparation, chemical properties, classification, understanding level, and write the correct answer for given MCQ. Again, these were at the remembering and understanding. And the last 7th question you can see, which was primarily on write short notes, again was at the understanding level. So you can see the statement which, and then we had another 3rd question paper by Dr. Sharma in the area of pharmacy. And again here, again you can see R, understanding, then understanding. So 3 major questions are there. Within the 3, there are choices inbuilt. So when you look at this, all these question papers, no question paper, even one is at the MSc level, even that doesn't contain any question at the application or higher than application level. Now, when we look at this, so the questions, the studies which we have taken up, they pointed out that 10 to 15, 20 to 15, 15 to 20, sorry, 15 to 20% of the weightage goes to application and higher than application in various questions. So some of you have shown disagreement, 1%. Yes, maybe you are talking and keeping in view the question paper you set or your university is setting. Maybe you follow those rules to ensure the adequate coverage of content. Then asking trivial questions. Now here again you will see that 50% of you agree with us that trivial things. Now when the focus is on remembering and understanding, these automatically are remembering questions are trivial things only, where you are asking define, write formula, enlist the types. These are small things which the factual information which is of part of the sub course. Then there was another statement that many times there are incorrect framing of questions. Now, when we say incorrect framing of questions, let me just take one of the examples here quickly. When you look at the question paper here, this one, and I have changed the color of these questions. Now, when you say what is a catalytic converter, now one can write the meaning, explain the concept of this. One can write the purpose of this. Purpose wouldn't be wrong. And if you look at what are the next question, alloys, and provide examples. So this question itself, the framing of question is incorrect. So again, you will see what are composite, it is explosives, and what are this is granular fertilizers. So here you can see all these questions which start with what are to be avoided. This is not the right way of writing the question. Then provide a short note. Who has to provide? Even if you are using short note, it is to be written, it is not to be provided to anyone. Discuss with whom? Because discussion is always between two or more than two people. So you need to look into. Highlight, you can highlight the things. If certain things paragraph is available, you can highlight the things in that paragraph. But when you say highlight, why can't we simply write or explain, right? Again, discuss. So then again, it is written, define steel, provide notes on various types of, provide notes to whom? As if I have prepared the notes and I have to hand over to somebody. So simple things, I'll be taking when we go to the question writing. So you can see a simple one question paper indicates that there are a number of problems as far as the framing of questions is concerned. So here I find that some of you are undecided, not sure of this. Others are, so 555, 33% of the people agree, 33% of the people disagree. No problem. You have to carry out the content analysis. Then repetition of questions. Now this here you see 6 of you agree with us, right? So 40% of you are in agreement with us. But what has happened, there was a classic case which we came across, that in one particular paper, one particular concept needs to be explained thrice. First, it comes as a short answer, that is 1 mark question, define this. Second, it comes as a part of the restricted essay type questions, where A part was again explain the concept of this, so repetition of that. And third was a problem solving, where again the theoretical part, it consisted of the explanation of the concept. So we have seen questions papers where there was repetition over the years that one can understand, but within the same question paper, if there are repetitions, then do we expect our learners to give the same answer thrice? That was where we were, it was a classic case. But these things have happened, that repetition. And when there is repetition, students are wiser. And when they look to the previous papers, they can find out which topics have been most commonly used by the paper setter, and which topics the person is not paying attention to, so can be left out. So students get prepare 50% of the syllabus, and we also found that students with 50 to 60% of the syllabus, they could attain as high as 80 to 85% of marks. Because another thing which encourages this is the choices, because external choices are available to the learners, the internal choices are not there, and it is not compulsory on the part of the students to attempt all the questions, because again the choices are external within the sections also. Then grammatical mistakes you can understand, and here again 33% of you agree with us, and this is what we have found. Minor mistakes is our verb ये mistakes होती हैं. Then asking irrelevant questions. Now, I'm happy only 4 people have agreed to us, and this has happened only in those cases where the paper setter was external and not from the education system for which the paper was being sent. He was from the higher education setup. So the person was not teaching the course, and person was not involved in and so he missed the syllabus, or maybe he was not familiar, he didn't pay attention to the syllabus copy, and he set the question paper. In those cases, this has happened. Then we have also found that sometimes the students have complained of the inordinate lengthy question papers. And this is where students could not complete the question paper. And many of us, when we set question papers, hardly any one of us would be taking time to attempt the question paper, or just have a rough idea how much time will be taken by question 1, question 2. And we had a very classic example at NITTR Chandigarh. Professor Dheer was there, who used to head the Department of Education, and he was a civil engineer. And Sir said, whenever I set the question paper, I sit back after setting the question paper, write down answers to the various questions myself. And if adequate time is not available, I'll write down the points which need to be covered by the student in that question, and then rough estimation of time which would be required to answer. Very rare example where he has been taking up this. Then we have inappropriate mark allocation. Now, when we say inappropriate mark allocation, so where we had come across the questions where there was lower ability questions, define, explain, at the remembering, understanding, they were given more marks. And when it came to the analysis question and you had ABC part, then lesser number of marks were given to the, or equal to 2 marks he diye gaye. Why? One thing. Another was inappropriate in the sense that marks have been indicated against the question, and it, say for example, it was 10 marks. Then there were ABC part. The person has not distributed marks to ABC. So you never know whether out of the 10, whether he is going to assign 3, 3 and 4, or whether he is going to assign 4, 3 and 3, or he is going to assign 3, 4 and 3. So this part-wise distribution needs to be included. So that was missing as far as the papers were concerned. This is where we have found the inappropriate mark allocation, and then lack of objectivity in marking. So if there is no distribution of marks indicated and there is no marking scheme available provided by the paper setter, then there were chances that objectivity was questionable. And this was evident from the re-evaluation which the students have asked for, and there were found marked differences in the scores given by the 2 different evaluators. And one example which I would like to share was 0 and 16. That was in case of a numerical in the civil engineering paper, and it was 0 because the person said I went by the results. Why 16? Because the person said I went step by step. I do not expect a civil engineer to simply calculate. अगर calculation में कोई गलती हो जाती है तो there are calculators, computers to do that, but the person should know the procedure to reach the goal. So he has gone stepwise marking and he assigned 16 and zeros. You can see. So inter-rater reliability is very low in case of the questions which doesn't have the correct marking procedure available to them. So even in the extended essay type questions, these discrepancies could be found. So I hope you will agree with us that there are issues and problems with respect to the quality of question paper, and one can see that so many drawbacks exist. So my next question to the House is, if there are so many drawbacks, what according to you are some of the characteristics of good question paper? Now what you need to do is, again I'm putting a link in your chat box. Just take 2 to 3 minutes to complete this. In the meantime, when framing the curriculum, is the approach correct if Bloom's taxonomy level of the subject is defined as 2 and we include questions at higher? No. I think Dr. Govind Prasad, I agree with you. If your curriculum doesn't go beyond the understanding level, then a teacher won't be, or the paper setter won't be going beyond that. But my question to you is, even if I'm teaching a diploma level student and certain knowledge with respect to concepts, principles, procedures, theories is provided or models is provided to the learner, what that knowledge is being provided so that he can apply. Even at the school level, when we are teaching students a simple addition, division, multiplication, subtraction, what do we expect from the learner? Not to simply do the addition and subtraction and division and so on, but utilize that in the day-to-day life. So somewhere curriculum need to be re-examined if that has been restricted only to the understanding level. We need to look into that issue. But otherwise, I fully agree with you. If that is what is indicated and we go by that, then certainly we are restricted as far as the level of question is concerned. Over to the members, kindly do it quickly. Characteristics. So, task number 2. Now, my question to the audience is, if you look at the slide, the responses, you will see that about 54% of the audience members says that validity is one of the desired characteristic of a good quality question paper. My question to the audience is, anybody who has agreed to this can explain the concept of validity? What is validity? जब आप कहते हैं valid है, what do we mean by that? Over to the members, audience members. A quick response from your side. Validity क्या refer करती है? What is validity? When you say the question paper needs to be valid, what do we mean by that? And the validity refers to whether the test measures what it intends to measure. That is one thing. If it is, somebody said, if my syllabus or the curriculum for the course says it is only remembering and understanding, and I am measuring those remembering and understanding, then my test paper tends to be valid. If it is inclusive of all the topics that have been enlisted in the course curriculum, my test paper is valid. If you give external choices, where the student has liberty to learn and prepare for selected topics, then the validity goes down for that question paper. So I still remember when we started our ME programs with as a off campus of Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology. At that time, we were asked to have all questions are compulsory, and we used to give internal choices to the learner rather than giving external choices to the learner. Within the topic or related topics, the questions were given or was internal choice was built in. Say, for example, leadership skills. So we have leadership, delegation, communication, motivation, and so on, conflict management. So their inbuilt choices were given within those. So they were interrelated and no external choices were given. So validity, when we say, you can have a look at this, the full one of the important characteristics that validity means if there is adequate coverage of the content matter in the question paper. Second thing is if weightage is given to different levels of learning outcomes. That is, there is a balance as far as remembering, understanding, application, applying or analyzing, evaluating and creating are concerned in relation to the curriculum requirements, the course outcomes which have been there. Then validity is also concerning when the intent of the paper setter is understood by the person, examinee, that is the learner. Now, if, say, for example, if I am writing what is, then the student can interpret it in different manner. And when different students interpret the question in different manner, the answer would be different from one individual to another. So why can't, if we are having a comparative performance and we try to compare one student performance with other, हालांकि competency based education में होना नहीं चाहिए, but it is happening, still we are norm referenced scoring we go, then this is a problem that we are including such questions which are differently interpreted by examinee. Even when you say write a short note, it would vary from individual. मुझे अगर concept आता है, I'll detail out the concept. Another person knows the application of the concept, he would or she would write applications of the concept. So there will be again differences in the responses given by the learner. So such kind of variation is not required in objective question papers. Then when we talk then grammatical mistakes are to be avoided when we say it's valid. Reliability. Now 40% of you have said reliable. Reliability to honi zaruri hai. So when we say reliability, that means we can depend upon the scores attained by the individual. Reliability refers to dependability. Dependability, or we can say intra-rater reliability or inter-rater reliability, needs to be high. That means scores given by two different examiners, there ought to be positive correlation between the two. Or if there are scores given by the same individual at two different points of time. Say, as a teacher, I assess the student performance through a written test. I don't put a mark on the answer sheet. After 1 month, again, I evaluate the answer sheet and give scores. Now, if there is high correlation between the two sets of scores, interrelated reliability is said to be high. Or if two examiners are doing, then again there has to be correlation between the two. And reliability also depends upon the objectivity on scoring. Say multiple choice questions, true false questions, or fill in the blank questions, which is 1 mark question, as we are using it on MOOC. Whether I do it or the machine does it, the scoring would not change. It is most objective. But the question is, when we are talking in terms of developing higher level abilities, we cannot test higher level ability by having questions which are objective type. So if we are providing a marking scheme, then we can increase or enhance the objectivity in marking of a particular question. So objectivity, which you have written, 65% of you agree that there has to be objectivity in marking, and that objectivity gets reflected. The greater the objectivity, the higher is the reliability of that question paper. And one another thing which we need to remember is anything which is valid ought to be reliable. But anything which is reliable may or may not be valid. Now, for example, if I have a wristwatch, and this is 10 minutes faster, it is dependable. I know every time if it is 6 o'clock, my wristwatch will give me 6:10, or if it is 2:10 or 1:10, because the standard time, if it is 1, 2 or 6, it is going to show me 1:10, 2:10 or 6:10. But anything which is valid ought to be reliable. So reliability is a necessary condition but not a sufficient condition. Then practicality. Whatever test we have framed or constructed or designed, that test needs to be implementable. That means we should be able to implement that within the time available. So wherever, if the students are not able, we found that inordinately lengthy question papers were there. So student faced the difficulty. So in that case, practicality was lowered down. Now let's quickly go to if these are the 4 important characteristics of the good quality question paper. We need to ensure validity. We need to ensure that the adequate coverage is there, the levels are taken care of, the Bloom's taxonomy, correct framing of the questions is there, then correct appropriation of marks or distribution of marks is there, and so on. So how to ensure that? So let's quickly go to the another small Google form. चलो, I think we have got 16 responses. इससे ज़्यादा आ ही नहीं रहे. धीरे धीरे नहीं चलना. Kindly do the needful. Anyway, thank you very much those who have filled in. बाकी कर रहे हैं तो मैं रुकूं 1 minute, नहीं तो we can proceed with our explanation. G. So friends, your responses are here with me. Broadly, when we look at 17 हो गए हैं, but चलो जो आता जाएगा. अब देखिए, there can be 2 different approaches. One suggested by All India Council for Technical Education. They have brought a document called Examination Reforms. All India Council for Technical Education ने बनाया है एक document which is Examination Reforms, and in that they have given an approach which can be followed. So why I am not focusing on this, because there are detailed steps which we use when we set the question paper. They have given us, even this approach can be followed if you find that this is convenient to follow, because what they have done is the program outcomes. They have first say they need to identify the competencies which are expected of the learner. That is, if you find, apply the knowledge of mathematics, science, engineering fundamentals, engineer specialization for the solution of complex problems, engineering problems, then the very first thing what is expected of the learner is that he should be able to demonstrate competence in mathematical modeling, demonstrate competence in basic sciences, demonstrate competence in engineering fundamentals, and demonstrate competency in specialized engineering fundamentals. ये होना जरूरी है. Then they said each competence. Now, for example, if the person possesses the competence in mathematical modeling, then what he or she should be able to do. That means he'll be able to apply mathematical techniques such as calculus, linear algebra, etc., in solving problems, or apply advanced mathematical techniques to model and solve mechanical engineering problems. Then apply laws of related sciences to an engineering problem. Now, what is being done is first identify the competency that indicate that the person has the engineering knowledge. Then you can see that here it is, what is the verb used? Apply. Whatever knowledge the person has, we are not testing the simple knowledge at the remembering and understanding level, but we are looking at his or her ability to apply the knowledge of mathematics, sciences, specialized, and the fundamental engineering knowledge to finding solution to the engineering problems here. Give you another example. This document is available on the internet. I would say you can always download this document. Here you can see the second, which again says that if there is the second one deals with the problem analysis. And if you look further, then it says identify, formulate, research literature, and analyze complex engineering problems, reaching substantiated conclusions using first principles of mathematics, natural sciences, and engineering sciences. So, what kind of competencies is expected? One is identify and formulate complex engineering problem. Now, that is already given here. Identify and formulate, because problem analysis starts with identification of the problem area and then coming to making a statement of the problem. Then demonstrate an ability to formulate a solution plan and methodology for an engineering problem. So one could formulate. That word is already appearing here. Then third one is ability to formulate and interpret a model. So the solution which is being generated, then demonstrate an ability to execute a solution process and analyze the results. So the solution which has been formulated, that is being tested. So here you can look at when it is identify and formulate complex engineering problems, then what are the performance indicators? That a person is able to articulate problem statement. So he is able to, you can simply say state problem or write the problem statement or articulate the problem statement. And identify. Actually, it is not identification of objectives. It is stating the objectives from the selected problem. Then identify engineering systems, variables, and parameters to solve the problem. So identify the system or the subcomponent parts of the system to identify the variables which need to be studied. Then identify the mathematical engineering and the relevant knowledge that applies to the given problem. तो ये कर लेते हैं, तो that means the person is able to demonstrate the competence in identifying and formulating the complex engineering problem. And likewise, you can see each competence is broken down, the performance indicated. What a student will be able to do to demonstrate that kind of competence. And this document contains all the 12 parameters A to K. They have been broken down into competencies, and then they have been performance indicators have been specified. So if you go by the performance indicator, it gives you an idea what level of question need to be included as far as the course outcome or program outcome, if it is going to be end term. then what is it that you need to assess? Because program outcomes, once the course outcomes are there, there is mapping between course outcomes and program outcomes. So this program outcomes clearly indicate what a learner will be able to do after he has acquired knowledge in mathematics or knowledge in science or knowledge in fundamental engineering, what he'll be able to do. Another way is, if this is available with us, then what we need to do is, just let me, isko main, all 12 will not be dealing with, but for all 12, this is available. So once all this is available, the teacher, I can set a question paper either for a class test or for a ये क्या हो रहा है, वापस क्यों जा रहा है? Sorry. हाँ जी. So the very first thing a teacher who is going to set a question paper for class test is list the topics and the learning outcomes for the topics. And then to find out, because program outcomes are available, course outcomes are available, intended learning outcomes or lesson level outcomes can be written by the teacher himself while he's planning or she's planning the lesson. So you need to write down the lesson level learning outcomes for each topic. Say for example, if I take a building construction and estimation, then for all the 11 topics, if I'm saying the class test 1, maybe I have only covered first, second and third topic. So I'll be writing down and preparing a list of the learning outcomes that need to be attained by the learner after learning these 3 particular topics. Then choose and prioritize which learning outcome will be assessed in the class test. Then we need to determine the weightages to be assigned to the various topics. Now in the curriculum document, you will see that the topics are enlisted, the hours LTP is also given. So say for example, we have topics introduction to building materials, 7 hours have been given, foundations 4 have been given, brick masonry 4 has been given. Normally, as a paper setter, what we do, give equal weightage to the various topics. If we are going to set up from 3 topics, and there are 60 marks or 30 marks, 10 marks to 3 topics. No. The question is, if you have spent more time, instructional time on one of the topics, then greater weightage needs to be given one aspect. Another is, keeping in view the importance or significance of that topic, the teacher can modify the weightage by 1 or 2 to 3%. Now here you see 7, 4 and 4, say 15 hours. And out of the 15 hours, 7 hours have been spent on this. So one can see how many marks, if it is going to be 30 marks, then what proportion of marks should be allocated to topic number 1. So 7 upon 15 multiplied by 30. So you get 15 upon 30 is 2, 30 upon 15 is 2. So 7 goes to 14 marks. 4 means 8 marks. 4 hours if I have spent, 8 marks. And now the final weightage, I can vary from 2 to 3% depending upon the significance and application of that particular topic in the world of work or in real life. So maybe here 12 marks, 10 marks and 8 marks. So retained 8, here 2 marks have been added and 2 have been subtracted from the first topic. So this flexibility you enjoy while setting the class test. Then if you are going for the final end-term examination, then again you can prepare this kind of matrix for the 11 which are there. Class test, ye aapke paas learning outcomes which have been there in terms of, these are intended learning outcomes. Theory mein jo likhe gaye the, but you can think of others also. And here end-term test mein, Here you can see the course outcomes have been indicated. So one has to look to the course outcome. How does which course outcomes? All these 5 need to be assessed, right? So here you can see that the course outcomes and learning outcomes are already with the teacher, the paper setter. Then the second task is to prepare a table of specification. Now, prepare a table of specification means this is prepared to determine the weightage that needs to be given to the various levels of learning outcome. So here you can see that on this side you have in foundations, then brick masonry. So keeping application level, or then you have the total marks. So higher than application level involves analyzing, evaluating, and creating. And here you can see how many learning outcomes. If 12 marks are to be, how many at the remembering level you would like to assess, at the understanding level, at the application level, or at the higher application level. So then this exercise is to be done. Now, why I am showing this? Because when you are testing students in a class test, remembering, understanding level learning outcomes can be assessed. But when it is going to be the end term examination, because your program outcomes, they start with application and higher than application, you need to look into that greater emphasis has to be on application and analyzing, evaluating, and creating. As far as possible, we can avoid remembering and understanding. So we are trying to determine the weightage to be given to remembering level learning outcome, understanding level outcome. And if you see, then 4 marks out of the 30 will go to remembering, 8 marks will go to understanding, application 8, 10 marks to the higher than application, and you have all the 30 marks. So your paper will be giving weightage to different levels of ability, which at present is missing, and greater weightage is given to remembering and understanding. Then the next step is, I'll come to your responses after we just quickly go through. Select the types of questions or items to be set. Now here we are all familiar with that we have selection type items where the learner has to select the right answer from the given ones. And here we have alternate response type item. So when we say alternate, so you have alternate responses true, false, whether the statement is true or false. So when you say F is equal to MA, the person has to simply say it's a true or false, or there are two types of engines, statement is right or wrong, right? Or then you have matching type items, you have premise and responses. Normally at higher education level, that is degree level, we are not utilizing, but some can use like principles are given and the applications are given. So if you have 5 principles enlisted in electrical engineering, 5 applications nahi chalengi. So you have to at least 8 to 9 applications you need to include in the response category, because the last choice should also have alternatives or options available. Then multiple choice type items, as we are most familiar with and most commonly used, that is, you have a statement or a question followed by the 4 to 5 alternatives, and the person has to select the right answer. Then assertion reasoning type items, A is to B is proportion to C is to D. Supply type questions, you can have extended essay type. When you say write the construction principle operation of an engine, this is extended essay type, but you have enlisted 3. You convert that extended into a restricted essay type when you say write construction principle and operation or working of an engine. But if you simply say write a detail or explain in detail engine, Now, this is extended essay. Then you have short answer type, where you have, say, differentiate between AC and DC motor, or differentiate between stack and array. These are nothing but short answer type question, or define something is a short answer question. Then fill in the blank, as we already know. If there are no choices given and fill in the blank is there, then it becomes a supply type. If alternatives are given for fill in the blank, then it comes under selection type item. So once the weightage has been decided through table of specification, the teacher, the paper setter, is likely to determine how much weightage is to be given to selection type items, how much weightage is to be given to supply type question. Because we all know remembering understanding level questions can be easily assessed through the multiple choice question, but it is difficult to frame application and higher than application level questions. So even if you make application analyzing, evaluating level questions, creating level questions cannot be tested through multiple choice tests. So it's better if you have analyzing to creating, it is better to go in for supply type of questions rather than going for selection type questions. So both are needed. And in some of the universities, it was a practice that certain 25% weightage is given to selection type, and then 75% weightage of marks is given to supply type question. If that kind of rule is there, then you can use both types of questions and items. Otherwise, we are bound by the rules of the university. So university doesn't accept NBA or NAC. So one has to look into how to, Board of Studies, they should clearly indicate how the student performance is likely to be assessed. If the question paper is going to be 2 parts. So we in ME program earlier with TIT, we had this kind of arrangement: 25 selection type, 75% weightage was given to supply type. And we used to give 20 minutes for selection type items to the students, and that part was taken back after 20 minutes. And then supply type questions were to be attempted by the learners. Then we are going to write the items, and then you can just have a quick look. All these questions are at the remembering level, whether it is define, state, list, enlist, name, or enumerate. Understanding level पे देखिए derive the relationship. Explain with the help of proper HS diagram, heat addition to a gas may cool the gas. Explain the difference or differentiate between normal and oblique shocks. Explain the ram effect. Differentiate between shaft and jet propulsion. Explain any 3 application. Explain the classification of engines and so on. अब आगे चलो, क्या हो गया? अब हाँ जी. Now, applying always means many of the paper setters make a mistake when they include a question which requires applying one single formula to calculate the value of the missing element, the given element. Or so, 2 values आपने से for example मैं mass acceleration की value दे देती हूँ, force निकालनी है, everybody knows force is equal to ma, तो बस mass और acceleration तो multiply करना है, force आ गई. No, this is only at the understanding level. Application means application of the learned rule in a new situation. So one has to look to a new example from day-to-day life or the world of work, and then the student has to apply the learned rule to find solution to that problem. So some examples you can see, which requires determine, find, calculate. ये सब जब आप करते हो, or you ask the person to demonstrate the principle of siphon or principle of pulley and so on. Likewise, here you can see what will be the distance the ball travels in each of the following cases. So an example. Single array is used to implement two stacks. The two stacks are from opposite ends of the array. Variable top 1, top 2. Top 1 is less than top 2. Point the location of the topmost element in each of the stacks. What is the condition for stack full if the space is to be used efficiently? So you can see real life. Then analyzing. Analyzing involves breaking down the whole into its constituent parts. Again, we find that when we say this is a question analyzing and people say compare AC machine with DC machine, is at the analyzing. No, the answer is already available in the book where the characteristics, advantages and disadvantages of AC with the DC machine is already available. Now you have something from the real life example which doesn't specify which the given what is written in the book, but if I say compare the Ford car with the Hyundai Getz car or Honda City. Now this is where the real life example is available. The student now need to, you have given the features, maybe you present a small scenario or a case for Honda City and for a Ford. And then the student is able to distinguish between Ford and Honda based upon the features you have given in a small case. That is analysis. So here it is not analysis which is given in. Now here you see explain the reasons for transmission losses. If I stop here the question, then it is already available in the book and the teacher has already taught. But if I have given a locality, now the students have to identify the reasons for transmission losses. It is where they are going to analyze what are some of the causes in that particular locality. So program C++, so they are going to identify the problem in that program written in C++. Or analyze the reason for derailing of a bullet train as explained in the case. So you are using cases, you are using scenarios which require actual analysis on the part of the individual, right? So evaluating level simply means determining the worth or judging the worth of a phenomena or a process or a concept or a principle and taking a decision. Now, when I say select an appropriate engine for a sports utility vehicle of given specifications and justify the selection. Now, this is where you have given the sports utility vehicle and its specifications. So based upon those specifications, the person is going to select the engine and then he is going to justify his. So this is where it is at the evaluating level. Select the type of reinforced concrete. You will prefer to design a bridge of given specification and explain the reasons for its selection. Similar है. इसी तरह appropriate transformer for a given building. Then write a program for issuing salary slips to the employees of an organization. अब ये conditions clear करनी है कि वो salary slips में क्या-क्या होना चाहिए, which is missing in this question. Judge the adequacy of resources in technical institutions for facilitating implementation of national policy on education. So ye, when you come, they are some of the questions which are at the evaluating level. Then you can see questions at the creating level. So which requires synthesis of the knowledge and creating something new. So design के जितने सवाल होंगे, development of के सवाल होंगे, formulation के, evolving mechanism, evolving strategies, formulating plans, ये सारा क्या है? These will come as a part of creating or designing a tool for a particular function. ये सब कहाँ आ रहा है? Questions at the creating level. So friends, this is where I think we have been. So once the questions have been written, then there is a need to edit, review and edit. Jitni pehle as a paper setter, I'll go through number of times. Then I'll ask one of my colleagues to do it. If you have a monitoring committee, that can do it. And then finally, editing can be done in the question paper. Then you need to assemble. अब assemble क्या होता है? Any question paper would consist of these 4 things. आप agree करते हो? I hope you agree. कोई तो बोलो. So your question paper, if you look, consists of general information, which is like this: name of college, branch, year, course code, total marks, time allowed. ये हमारी study में we found that name of the universities in the end-term paper confidentiality purpose के लिए वो कहते हैं इसलिए हम देते ही नहीं जी. But branch is there, semester is there, course code, total marks and time allowed. Few cases we had come across where some part of information was missing. Then instructions, not taking much time of the learner. They need to be complete, concise, correct, simple and section wise. And why section wise? If you have different instructions section wise. जैसे आपने question number 1 है, उसमें attempt all the 10 parts हैं, तो बच्चे ने 10 पार्ट को ही आंसर करना है, जैसे 1 mark question और 2 mark question आपने लिखे हैं. If in the second part, out of the 3, only 1 or 2 are to be attempted, then the section wise, the instructions need to be given, attempt any 2 out of the given 3 and so on. ठीक है जी? Then question item आपने ये मैं नहीं कराऊंगी because then mark distribution is very, very important. Proper allocation of mark to each question and item वो आपकी table of specification से आपको judgment हो जाती है. Distribution of marks for subsection. If you are having restricted essay type और आपने A, B, C part दिया है, then kindly indicate the division of marks to the parts. Then higher ability level, they need to be assigned more marks as compared to the lower level abilities. Difficult questions, more marks as compared to the less difficult questions. ये ध्यान रखना है. ठीक है जी. अब मैं आपके उस पे आती हूँ जो आपने किया था. ये एक systematic procedure है which we need to follow, and here we can see that 62% of you said POs into competencies. So I would say now the AICT guidelines are available. Keep that before yourself and you can critically examine those competencies, and if need be, minor modifications here and there can be introduced. Break down the competencies to performance indicators. So only 50% are doing, but this is needed because competency can be assessed if performance indicator is there, and it becomes easy for the paper setter to match it with the course outcome कि कौन सा course outcome वो competent जो performance indicator है उसको match कर रहा है, which ability the student should exhibit, कौन सी performance, ability to do में apply करना है, identify करना है, formulate करना है, क्या करना है. Then determine the weightage to be, फिर तो topics तो आप I think why 91.7% से कि मैं topic लिखता हूँ ये learning outcomes, topics तो आप सभी लिखते होंगे. Learning outcomes, yes, maybe if somebody is missing, nowadays it is essential because when you map COs to POs, CO की attainment, what will ensure are the learning outcomes at the lesson level. So अगर lesson level learning outcomes attain हुए हैं, then probability is course outcome is attained. If course outcome is attained, probability is higher that program outcomes will be attained. तो जब हम स्टेट करते हैं वी टॉप डाउन अप्रोच फॉलो करते हैं, जब हम अटेनमेंट की बात करते हैं वी फॉलो बॉटम अप अप्रोच. सो दैट मस्ट बी टेकन इनटू अकाउंट. Then weightage is 87.5%. So table of specification, weightage to the topic, that is one you happy 87.5% are already doing it. अब table of specification आपके सामने है. So you need to follow this to bring in more clarity which level of objective being learning outcome is being assessed and what weightage is to be given to that learning outcome in the test paper. So table of specification is, this is a one-time exercise which can be taken up at the department level. Maybe all time you don't need to reinvent the wheel. It becomes a part of the curriculum document. Then select the type of questions. सारे ही करते हो, फिर 75% क्यों आ रहा है? 100% का ही आना चाहिए था, सभी तो क्वेश्चन लिखते हैं. Then write the question, वो भी सब तो 18 सब ने बोला है. Then review the items, very essential as an individual, and maybe a monitoring committee can review the items at the department level or at the institute level, and then suggest little modification or suggestions for bringing changes to improve the quality. Then edit the items, so the paper setter can do that. If there is review, ought to be editing of the items. Then distribute marks, सभी करते हैं. Then we got 95%. 100% ही तो करते हो, सारे लोग ही तो करते हो. Then write instructions, वो भी. Why 87.5? All 24 के 24 ही तो लिखते होंगे instructions. Then mark distribution. This is, I'm so happy. Can anybody elaborate on how do you prepare a marking scheme? Over to the audience member. जिन्होंने लिखा है कि मार्किंग स्कीम बनाते हैं, can anybody share the experience? How do you prepare a marking scheme for your test papers? Ji, over to the audience members.
Ma'am, mostly when we talk about the remembering part of Bloom's taxonomy, we assign most of these questions to 1 mark.
No, वो तो फिर कोई तो ठीक होएगा तो 1, otherwise 0.
Yes, ma'am. MCQ or fill in the blanks types, they may be assigned to 1 mark. And when we talk about analyzing and evaluation or applying, that may be of 5 marks or 10 marks.
तो वो 5-10 मार्क्स की ब्रेकअप देते हो कि उस क्वेश्चन में क्या इंक्लूड होगा, कि 5 मार्क्स में 5 दे दोगे या 10 में से 10 दे दोगे? नहीं, आपके क्वेश्चन पेपर में तो ये आया ही नहीं है. ऑल क्वेश्चंस हैव बीन एट द रिमेम्बरिंग एंड अंडरस्टैंडिंग लेवल.
यस मैम.
हाँ, तो ये देखना पड़ेगा कि once the student attempts and you have given 5 marks to that question, how those 5 marks, 5 out of 5 are to be given, 4 out of 5 are to be given, 50% of those marks, to bring in objectivity in scoring of those questions. Any other member who would like to? जी, डॉक्टर शिवा कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं?
नहीं है मैम.
नहीं
है मैम.
मार्किंग स्कीम बनाते हैं?
या मैम.
तो कैसे बनाते हो, यही मेरा कुछ सवाल है. What is it that marking scheme includes?
We are analyzing the candidate performance based on the scheme, ma'am.
हाँ, वो तो ठीक है, but say for example, I have put that I am going to give maximum 5 marks, है ना? 5 marks have been allocated. Now, how a person is going to determine whether 5 are to be given, 4 are to be given, 3 are to be given, 2.5 are to be given? Do we write major points to be covered in that question answer paper, or do we write, if these things have been covered, these many marks, if this is missing, these many marks? Do we prepare such kind of marking scheme? No.
No, ma'am.
No. So what is I shared with you is that in numerical, where it was stepwise marking 0 to 16, this is one example. So if the paper setter had given that there are 8 steps and these many marks are to be allocated to the various steps, and then 20 marks are to be given to the numerical, or 15 marks are to be given to the whatever. So that was 20. So how the distribution among the steps is there, that is very important. Another is, if it is an extended essay type question, then major points to be covered and how many marks are to be allocated if everything is covered, if one part is missing or this point is missing or that point. If paper setter can give the guidelines for marking, then objectivity in marking can be ensured. Otherwise, subjectivity creeps in because there is not always one examiner who is examining the end term examination. Even if you have A, B, C, D section in your institutions, then 3 teachers are examining the class test also. And most of the time, class test is the same. 3 examiners, 3 teachers are doing that. So to bring in objectivity in scoring, it becomes essential that we sit down and prepare a marking scheme. The paper setter actually should do it. If that is not available, then the 3 teachers who are going to examine, they should prepare how many marks are to be assigned to the learner. If this is given, this is given, this is a rough structure is prepared, and accordingly the marking is done. So friends, as far as setting question paper is concerned, it's a very systematic process to enhance the validity and reliability and bring in objectivity in the marking. So I would request, and we are dealing with human beings, and here we all know as students we have been given, 1 mark cut. Why 1 mark has been cut by the teacher? Why 2 marks have been? So if you have marking scheme, objectivity in scoring, it's very easy to give the feedback to the learner and satisfy the learner also. So that scheme can be also shared afterwards with the students once they have been, their copies have been examined, so they can see. So you can justify what you have done. So any question at this juncture?
Thank you, ma'am.
My pleasure. Hanji, any other question if you have in mind? ये जो question paper में 1 minute, we have 1 or 2 minutes with me. ये देखिए the things which you need to avoid. अब देखिए ये remembering, पहली बात तो remembering understanding से ऊपर निकलो. Everybody is writing remembering understanding. Short note नहीं देना है, because you are giving lot of flexibility to your students. तो कोशिश कीजिए short notes हटा के, जैसे आपने classification पे question डाला है, so why can't we say state the classification or write the classification or explain the classification of organic compounds or high boiling point of alcohols? So what the person has to do, state, or what are the enumerate the high boiling point of alcohol, explanation चाहिए या state ही चाहिए? Differentiate between कर देते organic and inorganic compounds, highlighting any major 3 differences or 4 differences. वो specify कर दीजिए, scoring अपने आप automatically objectivity आ जाएगी. अब देखिए आपने लिखा structural isomerism, तो इसके बारे में क्या चाहते हो? होता क्या है? क्या फंक्शन परफॉर्म करता है? What is it? और इसको किसी और की एप्लीकेशन देनी है, कहाँ होता है, क्यों होता है, क्या करना है? Nothing is given. So avoid writing, write short note. ठीक है. दूसरा जो आपने पेपर भेजा था उसमें ये वाला, तो I would request avoid what. Use the verb which is given in your, अगर define कराना तो simply लिखिए define, अगर state कराना है state लिखिए, अगर explain कराना है explain लिखिए, अगर examples चाहते हैं provide नहीं, give any 2 examples of कौन सा मुझसे नहीं पढ़ा जा रहा, what is it written? Eclectic नहीं, कौन सा वाला भाई? Write 2 examples or give 2 examples of alloys जो भी है. Then granular, हाँ जी?
Eutectic alloys, ma'am.
Okay, eulectics. Okay. Then don't use what are. Simply write. यहाँ पे provide नहीं आएगा. Provide होता है कुछ है तो आपने दे दिया. Provide नहीं करना, give करना, write करनी है. Write 2 examples of this. ठीक है. इसी तरह देखिए आपके बहुत सारी जगह पे provide short note, change it, discuss नहीं यूज करेंगे, highlight यूज नहीं करेंगे, discuss नहीं करना है, provide avoid कीजिए. अब देखिए ये वाला क्वेश्चन थोड़ा गड़बड़ है. Explain your perspective on the integrating materials of industrial importance by considering heat resistant points and chemical explosives. Explain your perspective on this in the light of ज़्यादा सिंपल हो जाएगा, ठीक है. ओके, एक तीसरा भी देख लेते हैं क्विकली, इफ विद योर परमिशन. ये देख लीजिए आप, तीसरा जो क्वेश्चन पेपर था फार्मेसी का. अब देखिए यहाँ डिवीजन ऑफ आपने 2 पार्ट्स लिए हैं. वैसे तो ये अटेम्प्ट ऑल क्वेश्चन है 10:1, 1 मार्क का है. तो एक्सपैंड द टर्म इतना ही रखना चाहिए था, या व्हाट आर द मेजर सिम्टम्स, किस चीज के, पीकॉस के. जी डॉक्टर शर्मा.
यस मैम, यस मैम.
ओके, पर कितने सिंबल्स आप एक नंबर में दे देंगे, लिखवाने हैं.
राइट मैम.
तो ये ध्यान रखिए कि आप 2 चीजें इंक्लूड करे हो. पहली चीज, देन यू शुड बी वेरी क्लियर. एक में अगर 4 लिखते हैं तो 0.25 वेटेज आएगी, अगर 2 लिखते हैं तो 0.5, अगर 1 मार्क का है. तो उसको एक ही चीज रखिए, एक्सपैंड द टर्म पीकॉस और व्हाट आर द मेजर सिम्टम, और एनलिस्ट एनी 2 मेजर सिम्टम्स ऑफ पीकॉस. ठीक है. इसी तरह ये कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स का सवाल है, एनलिस्ट हाउ मेनी, व्हाट इज अवॉइड कीजिए, डिफरेंशिएट हो गया. देन एक्सप्लेन. अब देखिए यहाँ पे ये आपका 5 नंबर का है. एक्सप्लेन द रोल ऑफ टॉफी इन पैथोजेनेसिस ऑफ gout,
Gout, ma'am.
gout.
Yes, ma'am.
How gout differs from rheumatoid arthritis. अब इसमें डिवीजन ऑफ मार्क्स 2.5 नंबर देने हैं, क्या करना है?
Oh,
कितने डिफरेंसेस दे देगा कि 2.5 नंबर दे दोगे?
that must be written, ma'am.
हाँ जी, वो स्पेसिफाई करने की जरूरत है. अवॉइड डिस्कस. अब देखिए ये क्वेश्चन, डोंट राइट एन एग्जॉस्टिव नोट ऑन. आप लिखिए कि इसके बारे में लिखिए, लेकिन इसमें चाहते क्या है आप? एक्सप्लेन द फिनोमिना है, या प्रोसेस है, या सेल है, इसका सेल मेम्ब्रेन है, एंड देन दिस इज डैमेज. सो यू वांट द पर्सन टू एक्सप्लेन दिस with suitable diagrams. So 5 marks for explaining hypoxia and 5 marks for explaining हाँ जी दूसरे वाला. Define ये वाला role of. देखिए role is not defined. Role is always explained. तो define नहीं होता role. Then explain role of various inflammatory mediators in detail. अब नंबर तो 5 ही आएंगे. 2 चीजें तो आपने पहले ले ली, तीसरी चीज भी फिर डाल दी. फिर डिवीजन कैसे करेंगे मार्क्स की, वो भी करिए, लिखना है आपको. ठीक है. एक्सप्लेन. अब ये सारी चीजें जो आई हैं, ये अगेन इज ऑल, ये एक्सप्लेन आ गया. ये वाले 2 ऑफ पार्किंसन डिजीज इन डिटेल. ठीक है. विद स्पेशल एम्फोसिस ऑन रोल ऑफ दिस. तो इसको ये क्यों नहीं कह सकते, एक्सप्लेन द रोल ऑफ दिस एंड दिस इन द कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ पैथोफिजियोलॉजी ऑफ पार्किंसन डिजीज. ठीक है. तो थोड़े थोड़े मॉडिफिकेशन से वी कैन इम्प्रूव द क्वालिटी ऑफ. एंड सेकेंडली, जब हमने ये बनाया तो मे बी वी हैवंट केप्ट आवर टेबल ऑफ स्पेसिफिकेशन. तो कोशिश कर लीजिए, एक जो हम एक फ्रेमवर्क में, इवन देखिए diploma holder after putting 3 years he is going out of the college. ठीक है. तो हम क्यों एक्सपेक्ट करें कि सिर्फ उसको नॉलेज ही होनी चाहिए? नॉलेज से तो कुछ नहीं होगा. व्हाट वी एक्सपेक्ट अ डिप्लोमा होल्डर इज टू अप्लाई दैट नॉलेज. तो ज्यादा फोकस हमारा लैब्स, वर्कशॉप्स उस पे जा रहा है. तो अगर लैब में उसको अप्लाई करनी है ये सारी चीजें, थियरी में द बेस्ट इज टू हैव द नॉलेज, not up to remembering under, but application level तो आ ही सकता है ना. Think over. जब आप फ्रेम करोगे अपना करिकुलम तो सोच सकते हो. मुझे लग रहा है हम अपने इनपुट को देख के कि what kind of students we are likely to get, हमारा वो स्टैंडर्ड जा रहा है, नीचे जा रहा है कहीं ना कहीं.
Right, ma'am.
तो दैट शुड नॉट बी द क्राइटेरिया शुड बी जिसने डिप्लोमा किया है उसको क्या चीजें आनी है. सो आउटकम बेस्ड एजुकेशन दैट इज बीइंग इम्प्लीमेंटेड इन ऑल टेक्निकल इंस्टीट्यूशन. तो कोशिश कीजिए कॉम्पिटेंसीज आइडेंटिफाई करके रिवर्स चलिए, बैकवर्ड डिसाइड कीजिए करिकुलर एक्सपीरियंसेस एंड द काइंड ऑफ कोर्सेज नीड टू बी ऑफर्ड. So friends, thank you very much for your patient listening and your engagement in attempting the task.